Hello everyone, this is Gupta. Welcome you all to Sanjan Higher Secondary Mount video classes. So we are dealing with chapter number 11, that is a piece of bread. Okay, well, in the previous video, in the previous class, we showed that the escape convict had already left Pip, and Pip was supposed to go to his home. So in the meantime, Pip bade him good night, sir. So in response, he just uttered so much of it, and then he hugged himself, and then he trying to control his shaking of his body, and then he uttered a sentence that I wish if I were a frog or a owl. Okay, and so see here the author Charles Dickens, okay, giving us then every single details, describing us the every single details, every minute and minute details of the description of the escape convict, he tries to inculcate a sympathy into the heart and mind of the reader regarding the escape convict, and at the same time letting him say, I wish if I were a frog or a eel. He tries to instill some humor too in this very paragraph. Okay, now let's see what you get in the next paragraph. So here in the next paragraph, at the same time, he hugged his shuddering body in both his arms, clasping himself as if to hold himself together, and leaned towards the low church wall. You see what he got here. At the same time, he hugged his shuddering body. Shuddering, we got the new word shuddering, means shiver heavily. Okay, shiver like anything. Okay, severely shivering, severely shaking your body, that is called shuddering. So his body was shuddering out of control, beyond control. He could not control this shivering. He tried to stop his level best to stop this shivering. So what he did, he clasped his body. He held his body very tightly in order to stop this shivering. Okay, and then he marched towards the low church wall. And while marching, then he marched towards the low church wall. And while marching, as we are already aware of, that his legs, both of his legs were chained with iron shackles, so he could not walk properly like a normal human being. So he was just jumping, he was hopping to reach the low church wall. That is what he got in this very sentence. Now see in the next sentence. So as I saw him go picking his way among the nettles and among the brambles that bound the green mounds, he looked in my young eyes as if he were loading the hands of the dead people, stretching up cautiously out of their graves to get a twist upon his ankle and pull him in. Okay, very long sentence. Okay, this is one of the feature of Charles Dickens writing. His sentences are always very longer, with many commas, many and, many conjunction. Okay, now see. As I saw him go picking his way among the nettles. So he was walking through the nettles and brambles. Okay, nettles and brambles, you know that shrubs, nettle shrubs. It has got leaves with prickly leaves. Okay, if you get into touch with these prickly leaves, your skin will swell up, get red, and skin will burn. You'll get a itching sensation for a longer period. Okay, so that means all describing is all these things here. Also in this very paragraph, also the author Charles Dickens continuously describing the hardship and the pathetic condition of the escape convict, and by this most probably he was trying to inculcate, he was trying to draw a sympathy in the mind and heart and mind of the readers for the escape convict too. Okay, now see, so he was marching towards the he was marching towards the low church wall, and while marching towards the low church wall, he had been interrupted by the bramble and nettles plants. Okay, so it was very difficult journey for him. Now see, he looked in my young eyes as if he were eluding the hands of the dead people, as if I were eluding the hands of the dead people. So here Pepys narrates that in my young eyes. That means Pepys was also not so sure that whether really he was trying to eluding the hand of the dead people or not. Okay, eluding, we got a new word, eluding. Eluding means escaping. Okay, escaping. So suppose when someone tries to attack you, or someone is coming to attack you, you'll try to get rid of the attack. You'll try to save yourself, okay, by escaping from the attack. So that is what called eluding. So here Pepys was also not sure that whether really if Pepys was sure that he was really trying to elude escape from the hand of the dead people, Pepys would say that I could see that he was trying to eluding the hands of the dead people. But he said, in my young eyes. That means now Pepys is elderly person. Okay, and so now he is describing the story to us. He is narrating the story, and while narrating the story, he says that in my young eyes. That means I was very young, and so it was not possible for me to understand everything very clearly. Okay, so in that moment, according to my point of view, as per my perspective, what I assume that he was trying to, the escape convict was trying to escape from the hand of the dead people. Okay, snatching up cautiously from their graves. That means he was very carefully trying to keep him away from their graves. Okay, now see in the next sentence, when he came to the low church wall, he got over it like a man whose legs were numbed and stiff, and then turned around to look for me. So then what we got here, see, when he came to the low church wall, so he was marching towards the low church wall. Now he has already reached the low church wall, and after reaching the church wall, he got over it. He crossed the wall. Okay, and while crossing the wall, as we already know that his legs were chained with iron shackles, so it was not possible for him to cross the wall like a normal human being. So Pepys says here, see, like a man whose legs are numbed and stiff. So while he was crossing the low church wall, for Pepys looked like that, as if his legs were numbed. That means as if his legs were having no senseless. Okay, numbed. Numb means what? We got already here. You see, numb, deprived of physical sensitivity. Okay, that is, we can say senseless. So sometimes if you sit in a place for a longer time, okay, in same position, so that time our leg get numb due to interruption of blood circulation. Our leg get numb. It lost the sensitivity. So that was the condition of escape convict. Okay. So in the next sentence, when I saw him turning, I set my face towards him and made the best use of my legs. So they got here, see, when Pepys saw that the man, after crossing the church wall, turning his face towards Pepys. Okay, so Pepys instantly, within no time, Pepys also turned towards his home, and he made the best use of his legs. That means he walked as fast as he could. Okay, you know that since for a whole Pepys had been caught by the escape convict, now he got relief, and since he got relief, he did not want to be caught again by the escape convict, so he tried to leave the place as fast as he could. Okay, that was the condition. Now see, but presently I looked over my shoulder and saw him going on again towards the river, still hugging himself in both arms and picking his way with his sure feet among the great stones dropped into the marshes here and there for stepping places when the rains were heavy or the tide was in. Okay, now see what we got. But after walking little bit, so what Pip did, Pip was very curious to know about that escape convict. Where would he go? So what he did, he could not control his temptation, and so what he did, he just looked backwards over his shoulder, okay, and what he showed that he was going towards the river. And so while he looked backwards, he showed that the escape convict was going towards the river, okay, going on again towards the river. So, and at that time also still he was hugging his body. So at that time also he was shivering, okay, he could not control his shivering, so he was hugging his body very tightly with his arms and picking his way with his short feet. And his legs were tied with iron shackles, so he could not walk properly, so he got hurt. There was lots of injuries in his legs, so he could not walk properly, so his short feet, okay. Among the great stones dropped into the marshes here and there for stepping places when the rains were heavy or the tide was in. And on his way, there were big pieces of stone lying here and there. The stones were laid because sometime during during rainy season or during high tide or during flood, okay, this is a marshy land. It's become full of water and mud, so it become difficult for people to walk. So to make it convenient for people to walk, the stones were laid there, okay, so that people can step on the stones and get rid of the mud and water, okay, to save them from the mud and water, okay. And these pieces of big stones became a hurdle for the escape convict while walking, okay. Now, so in the next paragraph, this is the last paragraph of the story. The marshes were just a long black horizontal line. Then as I stopped to look after him, and the river was just another horizontal line, not nearly so broad nor yet so black, and the sky was just a row of long, angry red lines and tense black lines intermixed. Okay, this is also a very longer sentence. This is a feature of Charles Dickens, writing longer sentence with lots of commas, lots of conjunction, and but he'll make the sentences very longer. Okay, now see here. Here in this very long sentences, see what he does. He introduces many imageries, and with the help of imageries, he tries to draw the readers into the story, or he tries to let the reader not only read but experience the situation, experience the scene, okay, story in true sense. Okay. Now see, the marshes were just a long black horizontal line. Then horizontal line 10, as I stopped to look after him, and the river was just another horizontal line, not nearly so broad nor yet so black. Now see that Pip was scared of the escape convict, and since he got relief from the escape convict, he did not want to be caught again to the escape convict. So when the escape convict turned towards him and turned his face towards him, so Pip also turned his face towards his home, and he walked very fast, as fast as he could, towards his home. But when Pip had already covered a long distance, okay, now Pip was a little relaxed, he was a little relieved, so he again turned back to look after him. So most probably Pip had also developed an attachment for the escape convict, seeing his pathetic condition. Okay, Pip also feeling something, and so he was also looking towards him repeatedly. After covering a distance, now Pip was safe from him, so he was not so much afraid of, and then he looked back again, okay, to look after him, okay, how he was doing or how was his condition. And so what he showed, and from that far away, for Pip, the marshes were just a horizontal line. This is to make us understand, to make us realize, okay, to make us experience that Pip was now far away from the marshes, what he introduced the imagery is that the marshes is just a long black horizontal line. Okay, then what he said, as I stopped to look after him and as I stopped to look after him, and the river was just another horizontal line, and river is also, that means he wanted to mean that the river was also far away from what called the escaped convict was going towards the river, and the river was also far away from Pip now. That is why Pip could not see the river properly. It was just a blurred vision. Okay, it was just like a horizontal line, black line, not nearly so broad nor yet so black. Okay, and the sky was just a row of long angry red lines and dense black lines intermixed, red and black lines. Okay, red and dense black. So by this imagery, he wanted to mean that it was going darker, it was going to be night. Okay, night was approaching, and so the people, night was approaching, so the sky become darker, and sun was setting, so it was little reddish color, and again rest part was, then the rest part it was completely darker. So he, by this imagery, he let us and make us realize that it was really going to be night. It was already dusk. It was already evening. Now see, on the edge of the river, I could faintly make out the only two black things in all the prospect that seemed to be standing upright. One of these was the beacon by which the sailors stared like an unhopped cask upon a pole, an ugly thing when you were near it, the other a gibbet with some chains hanging to it which had once held a pirate. Now see, again Pip narrates that he was far away from the marshes now, and from there he could see on the bank of the river only two things. Okay, one was the that beacon, that means you can say the lighthouse. Okay, that helps the sailor in the sea, it helps the sailor to steer their ships. Okay, in order to give direction to the sailor while sailing their ships. That is beacon, lighthouse. You can see the picture of lighthouse on the screen. Okay, so this is the lighthouse. Okay, then after this, again one more thing he mentioned, that and how was the lighthouse. He described the lighthouse also, that is I could faintly make out the only two black things in all the prospect that seemed to be standing upright. One of these was the beacon by which the sailors stared like an unhopped cask. Cask, you know that we got another one new word. Cask means a barrel. Okay, barrel used for holding wine, holding alcoholic drinks. Okay, that is called cask. And unhopped cask, that means the cask was without hope. Okay, so you can see the picture of barrel and see the body is made of wooden body, and that is called stab, and stab of the what called barrel, and you can see the round straps, and these round straps are called hope. Okay, so unhope, that means that cask did not have a hope. Actually there was no cask. While people looked at the signal house or the lighthouse from the far away, it looked like a cask, and cask without a stripe. Okay, the other a gibbet, and then he mentioned another thing, that is what? Gibbet. So gibbet, you can see the picture of gibbets on the screen. Gibbet means you can see an upright post with an arms. Okay, for hanging the dead bodies of a criminal after execution, in order to warn the others, so that seeing that others also afraid of to what call do some kind of offense, same kind of crime. Okay. He mentioned about two things. What question? What are the two things people could see from the? What are the two things people could see from the from far away on the river bank? People could see two things. One was what? One was the bacon. We got one thing was the bacon. That is one bacon, and another thing it was a civet. Okay, civet. These two things. What are the two things people could see far away on the bank of the river? On the bank of the river, people could see one thing that is bacon and another thing that is civet. Now, which had once held a pirate? Pirate, you know, that dacoits and what called burglar who attack the ship on the mid-sea. Okay, in the middle of the sea, who attack this what called ships and the what called snatch away all the things, whatever they get. So these kind of criminals are called pirates. Now, the man was limping on towards this later as if he were the pirate come to life and came down and going back to hook himself up again. So now that man was limping towards that civet. That man means who? Who's that man? That escaped convict. Yes, the escaped convict was now marching towards that civet. Okay, going towards that civet. And since he was going towards civet, seeing him, okay, Peep is assuming and Peep is visualizing that this escaped convict is not the convict. He is actually, Peep is assuming him as the pirate, the pirate once who was executed and he was hung in that very civet. Now Peep is assuming, or Peep is imagining, that very pirate again came down in the form of this escaped convict. Okay, that they two are the same person. Okay, that that pirate again came down in the form of this escaped convict and who met Peep and who demanded the things from Peep. And now again he is going towards the civet, and after going there he will again hook up him in the civet. Like this, Peep, it's just Peep's imagination. Okay, it's not a real. In fact, that escaped convict is a different person, and that pirate was a different person, since pirate was already executed. Okay, after execution only he was hung. So how could he come back again? But this still is a child's imagination. Okay, in the child's minds, many things may appear, many things may what called develop due to fear, due to scare, is it, due to horror. So he was just imagining that very what called pirates again came down in the form of that escaped convict. Okay, it gave me a terrible turn when I thought so, and as I saw the cattle lifting their heads to gaze after him, I wondered whether they thought so too. It gave me a terrible turn. He was, okay, so right after when this kind a thought appeared, such a thought appeared in his mind, that pirate came into life as this escaped convict. He was very afraid of. Okay, that time Peep was very afraid of. When such a thought appeared in his mind, that Peep was very afraid of. Okay, and when he saw that the cattle were also gazing at the escaped convict, and then he Peep thought that what he was thinking, whether the cattle were also thinking the same like him. Okay, then see, I looked all around for the horrible young man. Then again he remembered about the horrible young man that the escaped convict mentioned him, that I am nothing, I am just like an angel compared to that horrible young man, and who could get in a boy at any time, at anywhere. and get into the heart and liver of a young boy at any time, anywhere. So now that again he remembered about the horrible young man, and when he remembered about the horrible young man, see, and could see no sign of him, but he could see no sign of the horrible young man. But now I was frightened again. Okay, earlier when he just remembered, when he just imagined that the pirates came down into life as escape convict, he was very horrible. Now again when he remembered about the young man, okay, now he was again scared of. But now I was frightened again and ran home without stopping. And this time he was so afraid of that he without stopping for a little moment, he just ran towards the home and he did not stop anymore. He right before he reached home, he did not stop anymore. Okay. So this is the end of the story. That is first chapter of the Great Expectation. And now the query will remain in our mind: what would happen to people, what would happen to the escape convict, whether people would really bring food or file to the escape convict or not, whether the escape convict will able to get him free from that iron shackle. Okay, we would not know right now. If we really want to know all these things, then we will have to go through the complete story of Great Expectation by Charles Dickens. Okay, all children, with this I'm going to wind up this very class. Bye bye.